think that was numero uno. That was the thing that garnered the most attention. Does that sound valuable? We can pivot a little bit off of that. Sound good? All right. So who's gotten a listing in the last 6 months? Okay. Where'd it come from? Oh, by the way, this is Mastermind, so it's not. I'm not going to just talk the whole time.
Mine was Spear, and then I've gotten a couple. I do some internet leads, so I've got some internet as well.
Okay.
Sphere and past clients.
Okay.
Sphere, past clients, Hop City,
Okay.
Sharkwell.
What else? Same? Sphere and past clients. All right, so number one thing we ask when we're talking about getting listings is how do I get people to call me? So there are two types of real estate, right? So we got catch and we got fetch. Catch, fetch. Trademark. Catch, fetch. Any guesses on the difference?
Fish, you went out and fish, you had to go out and get it.
Yep. So fetch is really interesting. So catch is what we want, where we don't have to do anything, the phone rings, and that's what we all believe is going to happen when we're in real estate school, right? We all believe that this thing, as soon as your license activates, hello, will you sell my house or will you help me buy a house? That's what we believe happens. So that's catch, right? So literally think about football. Fetch is cool. So fetch, the neat thing about fetch is scalable and repeatable. So if I can figure out what causes something to happen, I can then replicate that process, which then allows me to do that over and over, which allows me to scale. So often when we're talking about listings and how do I get listings, what we mean is how do I make the phone ring, which is not scalable or repeatable unless we're setting up some processes in the background, right? So I think it's super important. So I heard Sphere, and how do those Sphere people engage? Did they call you, or was it a check-in, an email, sitting beside them at a soccer game? Like, how do we engage those Sphere listings?
Relationships, having relationships, and then also referrals from a friend of mine.
Yeah, that's good. So being somebody that they trust to then get to. So, and that's all about the relationship stuff, right? How do you get in their circle so they that's good. So what are some methods you guys use to do that?
I use variety. I mean, I'm big on still talking to people as much as possible, so I will call people.
Talking to people.
Well, you know, in today's world, it's always text and Facebook message and call. I do text. I do email. It never seems to fail when I put something up about real estate on Facebook. They finally see something besides the workout post, and they actually key in on the other.
That's cool.
And a lot of times then somebody will reach out to me at that point in time and say, hey, so-and-so's gonna be calling you, or the other day, Saturday, when you were running in the rain, I was inside the gym, and the guy beside me was saying, like, somebody I know, he just asked how business was, and I said, well, it's a rare Saturday I'm not showing. However, I have paperwork. Just led the conversation.
Right.
So while I was there with his contact information, because he's looking to buy a good bit of land in the next year.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So here's number one tip. I think everybody has a job, owns a business, or is related to somebody that has a job or owns a business. I think we can agree on that, right? Like the most obvious thing we could possibly state, right?
Okay.
Now, how many calls do y'all do offering to help other people with their business?
As far as truly help them with their business?
Yeah.
Yeah, 0.
I did one yesterday.
You did one yesterday. Okay, cool. How'd that go?
It was great. It was kind of like a scratch your back. You scratch mine. He's a financial advisor.
Cool. So how did that conversation go? Like just the gist of it.
Referrals, you know, didn't know anybody needs help. I'm just trying to grow my business and staying here.
That's so cool. So what we're taught, and we're taught a lot in Keller Williams is, you know, anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest, right? It's like the thing that they always want you to say, well, I hate that. So I know we're supposed to say that, I hate it, because it feels like, can you help me, or I'm here, if you need me, it like feels like this weird thing, so I personally don't like that so much. So what I like to do is call people and say, hey, I just had a minute, and I was thinking about you, and thinking about you and your business, and I was wondering what relationships I have, the network that I have, is there any way that I can pour into your business? So what's the comment we get back? That's so nice, but what do you mean? Right? It's gonna be some qualifier that's gonna come back. So what are ways that you can pour into somebody's business?
Well, I need to do this again. I just spent a video, kind of dropped it, but I used to do videos of local businesses in the area, and it was called the Weekend Whatever Report.
Oh my gosh, this is good. The
Yeah.
Weekend whatever report?
Yeah, so
Alright.
I mean, I've done a ton of them, but since when COVID hit, it kind of messed everything up, and I haven't got back into it yet. But I have some people lined up for me to do a video,
So why'd you do that?
just to get just for exposure, and of course, the people that, I'm promoting their business, hopefully they refer me in the future.
That's right. So this is huge, and I cannot tell you how well it works, but pick anything. Pick a career.
Landscaping.
Landscaping. All right, so landscaping, you can say, hey, would it be helpful? So I got 200, how many agents we got? 250, 260, something like that?
260 plus.
260 plus. I got 260 people in my closed Facebook group, have great relationships with all of them. We're all looking to move our business forward. What I realized was you have a landscaping company, and rather than buying a house once every 3 to 5 years, like most people do, I'm actually in touch with people on a daily basis about that transition. The funny thing about houses, they have lots of dirt around them. They either have grass or landscaping. So would it be helpful for you if I was to share your name with clients as I talk to them, or other agents in my market center to help you move your business forward? Would you be offended if I did that? No.
Absolutely not.
Did I say I will do that if you send me referrals?
No.
Didn't have to, because what I just did, I just moved that person, he, she, forward into their business and asked for nothing in return. And by default, when we move somebody forward in their business, what's the next thing they ask?
How can I help you?
Every time. Every time, and if nothing else, when they're at Thanksgiving dinner and talking to the person next to them, my business is up 75% this year because so-and-so over at Greenville Drive put me on their listserv or connected me with clients all year long, and I can't believe the amount of growth. And because of that, we're able to buy an investment property this year. I owe X, so much thanks for that. What'd you say that person's name was? You should reach out to them because maybe it'll do the same thing for you. So I say all the time, and I know this is cheesy, but I'm cheesy, so you have to get used to it. This is the name of the game. No withdrawals without deposits. If you're not putting a deposit in the machine, you don't earn the right to take a withdrawal. So stop walking up to the ATM in your sphere and asking for withdrawal.
I started this in January. I already would do this some last couple of years. We have a lot of friends that own restaurants, and even before COVID, or other businesses, my barbershop, different one. And I would do like shout outs whenever we were there. So this year I said, come January, we're gonna do a small business of the month Facebook page.
Okay.
From my personal page. So just last night before the awards, I did another little local restaurant in town. And it kind of goes up with the video is, I'm not asking for anything. I'm putting it on the business page, and then I'm sharing it on my personal page, and I'm tagging the owners. And
You do a great job with that, Glenn. I've seen it.
Okay.
Thank you. And from there, Anderson Chamber of Commerce will share it, and it just keeps. So one of them, without even boosting it, over 8,000 engagements.
That's crazy. Right.
Last night or this morning, I looked at the one I did last night, 1,700 engagements, and I still haven't boosted that one yet. And those businesses have a tendency to share back to us, just because.
So there's lots of our small business owners in this town that you can go to, and this is something that I did in Asheville when I was building my business. But I gave them a credit card on file, and I said, if anybody ever comes in your coffee shop with my business card, I'll pay for half their coffee. anytime. And I said, well, would you be offended if I just offered to pay for half a coffee? Because what I'm doing is bringing new people into the community, because most people buy from away, right?
Mhm.
And as they come in the community, I want to direct them to small businesses, because you and I are business owners, and I want to help you grow. And then I would get a bill at the end of the month, and it was expensive. I mean, I think my biggest month was probably $30.
How did you ever make your money back?
Right? But what did I do? I told that business owner that I cared about him. His name's Jay. He now has 5 locations in Asheville. Started with 1 coffee shop. All right, I'll give you another example, and we'll do some other methods. But on my street, I buy a first house, and a hoarder lived there. So you can imagine the excitement from my wife as we moved into this home, right? She's really pleased about this first house. And I have to paint it, but I don't have the money to paint it. In Asheville, I've been quoted like $7,000 to $8,000 to paint this house. It wasn't even a big house, but it's cedar shake. It was kind of complicated. So the guy painting up the street, and I walk up and I say, look, is there a foreman or a manager or something here or whatever? And he said, no, but I manage the crew, but I don't own the company. And I said, hey, I don't know if y'all are allowed to do this or not, but if you have off hours, you can take months to do it, but I'll pay you if you guys want to come paint the house off hours. You know, I've always wanted to start my own painting company. He said, let me come by and take a look. So he comes by, his name's Tony. Tony comes by, says, I'll totally do it. Tony starts my house. I have to tell him, go to Kinko's and put your logo on a sign. And I want you to stick it in the yard while you paint my house. So Tony now has a 10-person crew. That was 5 years ago. He just painted my office in Asheville. We paid him $21,000 to do that. And he owns his own business. And everyone Tony talks to,
He remembers you.
sends them right to our company. So helping people expand their business through our relationships. Yeah, so be strategic. Asking for business is lame. Gary Keller's like twitching itchy right now. But I think you just make deposits. Find people and accelerate them. Find people and accelerate them.
Plug into the end of plugging in.
That's right. What are some other ways we can generate listings? Why do people sell?
To retire, downsize.
So trigger events, right? There's something that triggers the process. So up, down, job, marriage, kids, divorce, death, like, right? The triggers. And they're finite. There's a finite trigger, like it's an event, something that triggers that. So what I'd ask you to do is, real estate's a relationship-based business. So think about if that process is triggered, who are the people that are involved in that process. And the name of the game is getting to that before the event, building those relationships.
There was this girl, I went to this women's seminar, a realtor women's seminar this past weekend in Richmond. And there was this girl in, was she in Richmond or Virginia? Anyway, so she gets a booth at wedding symposiums.
At what?
Wedding shows.
Yeah. Go figure.
Cause what's the next thing they're gonna do, buy a house?
Yep, so one of the major speakers, I don't remember who it was, but so I don't know, is it called a wedding show or something? What's the thing is that what it's called? Like they do it in the big coliseums or something?
Yeah.
Somebody help me out.
Right.
Expo, they do an expo.
Yeah.
Bridal Expo. So this realtor gave away flat screen TVs. She would take giant flat screen TVs, rent a spot. You have to like buy a little permit. She rent a spot in the beginning of the expo, and she would say, to be entered to win a flat screen for your brand new house, Give me your name and contact info, and you'll be in a raffle. Who's coming to the wedding expos?
Answer back to the mayor.
Moms,
Yeah,
dads.
it's like parents of the brides,
That's right.
the ones who paying for it.
And I don't remember the number, but the database that this woman built was insane. Absolutely insane. And it cost her $800 for a big flat screen TV. So when you think about database value, I'm gonna go all over the place if y'all are cool with this. So database value works like this. So anybody you know that's gotten out of the real estate business?
This guy out of it?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Don't know anybody that's gotten out?
Oh, yeah.
Did you buy their database? No, they said, good luck, we're so sorry to see you go, we're gonna miss you around here. Seems like you're doing pretty good. If there's any way I can help you, if you think of anybody that needs to buy or sell, please let me know. What's the database worth?
25%.
It's crazy, right? Man, nuts. How
Have
do
you
never
seen
think
people
of
who
that
have done that, transition that into success with sales based on the personal relationships that person had in the past? How have you seen that work?
Say that again.
How have you seen someone, I've thought of that before, but how have you seen someone take those relationships that other agent had and transition into success? The only way that I felt to really bridge that gap successfully was to have the partner with that other agent for a period of time to make introductions.
That probably makes sense, yeah. Most people say Zillow is gonna change the game for us, because what people seek is knowledge, right? It doesn't matter if the estimate is accurate, doesn't matter. Because they just want a fixed point, right? They want an idea where their house is. So market knowledge is really, really valuable. Now, I would imagine that we probably have some naysayers about command in here. Is that possible? Any naysayers about command? Raise your hand. Let us shame you. Yeah.
I don't really use it, but to put in it what I need to.
That's right, for opportunities and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so command at the team level is not fantastic. I think, sorry, Jason Abrams, but that's true. What it does really well is neighborhood nurture. Have y'all seen that feature? Anybody in your database that has an address, you can do a custom web page for them. You can send them market info on their neighborhood. Click of a button.
To play off what you said or asked, so this person
Well,
was in my downline or not in my, he has some health issues, so he had to step out of the real estate world. However, going on what you were saying, he and we've been lifelong friends since college. And we have a lot of the same people in the same sphere, so forth. So he currently is holding his license on a referral company. We're gonna have lunch in a couple of weeks because that was sort of my thought. I want to go to him and see what it would be worth to him to pretty much just take over all his contacts.
Yeah, so for somebody who's getting out of the business or somebody that doesn't want to do it full time, if you could automate that process or step in and help them with that, it makes, ultimately they want referral fees, right?
And that's what that was in my mind. I'm thinking about actually giving him a little larger referral fee to begin with.
You don't even have to pay for the database. Hey, if I was to keep in touch with your database.
Yep.
And send you a referral fee on anything that transacted out of it that'd be valuable to you.
But that was exactly my thought. That way I'm not having to write him one lump sum.
Right.
My hope is he gets better and he gets back into real estate.
That's right.
And gets over, and he seems to be fine now, but it's just financially speaking, he had to step away for a little while. So ultimately, I like for him to get back in my downline and go that route too.
That's right.
Jeff, this is another idea. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to. And I'm looking into nursing home facilities.
Sure.
For my mother, and they're calling me, trying to make friends with me, and she knows, my life, because she's done a good job of getting to know me. And one day she goes, Bray, how can I help you? I said, well, do you know anybody who wants to sell or buy a house?
Yeah.
So she goes, well, you know what? as a matter of fact, I'm gonna put you in touch with da. Because when people come in here, they need to sell a house. And so she said, I'm gonna have a luncheon where you can meet, the 3 people that you could network with to set something up like that. I'm like, holy cow. That's a good little.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
That's brilliant, you know,
What?
that's brilliant,
I know.
good one, good one.
I'm gonna throw this one out there. I almost did it the other day, and when I didn't do it, I kind of hit myself upside the head because I didn't do it. I learned this in bold, or we talked about this in bold one time. I don't like Amazon, but I may even plug into the Amazon person, but your FedEx driver, your UPS driver, your
Yeah.
mail person.
Yep.
How many of y'all have relationships with them? Most everybody's gonna say, not really. If you do though, would it be beneficial to give them some kind of referral, Visa gift card or something that they robots?
We can't give them a referral, right?
Well, not a referral, just a gift card for being friends, for finding me some for sale by owner signs up there.
Yes, okay, so here's the number 1 Facebook post that I've ever done, ever. You know what it said? I can't find it because it's so old and I've referenced it so many times, it's like buried. But I just said, hey creepers.
Creepers?
Yep, this is what my post said. It said, hey creepers, I'm trying to be creative. I have exhausted the MLS. And said, I've got a family that's looking to get into a new home. If you could do me a favor, they're willing to pay at or above market price. If you could do me a favor and take a picture of any house that looks like the grass is long, the lines are pulled, or if you know of anybody that's looking to sell in the next 3 to 6 months, please let me know. I'm counting on you. Just text me a picture of the address. I'll reach out. I don't need anything. I'm not kidding you. I got 3 listings out of that. People saying, well, we're gonna sell in 6 months, we're gonna sell in a year, or if they're willing to pay above market value, I would sell. I got, to this day, that post is literally 8 years old. To this day, I still get text messages, just pictures of houses with the street name. It's like the number on the house and the street name.
Did you say you pay them?
I said, I need your help. I said, it's a great family looking to buy. I said, you don't need to do anything. I'm just trying to be creative because I'm feeling it for this family. Just send me a picture of the house.
So what happens when you don't produce the family?
What do you mean?
I imagine you probably really did have a family at that point, didn't you?
I did at like 80.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which you all have right now, right?
Yeah, we all have.
But what I did was, think about what I did. So this is about leverage, but I took one set of eyes and one finite amount of bandwidth to search for a house for these people, and I spread it across my sphere. So now I got the people in my sphere, literally, they're basically generating FISBOs for me. Pop, 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 pop. Then maybe a follow-up post. You guys have been so awesome, some great leads, but nothing's worked out. Keep your eye out. I think each of you has similar circles, but you also have real definitive separate circles. So if you're engaging your sphere to look for listings, you're creating an army.
I had a question way back up here, but how do you follow up with those that just have an address?
So what do I do?
Yeah.
So I mail letters, I knock on the door, like whatever it takes.
You can use forewarn as well and put in someone's address and you can typically find out the homeowner and their phone number.
I mean, there's tons of methods. to do
Forewarn,
it.
it comes from NAR, it's a free program that we get to put people's phone numbers and addresses and stuff in.
Or one?
All right. We talked about trigger events, right? So this is what would initiate the sale process. The reason that every house on the market right now is not for sale is because they perceive what?
There's no place to go.
That's funny. A, they don't have enough money that would motivate them to go, so it's either financial. I don't want to deal with the headache of moving. I perceive that I can't get enough to make it worthwhile to move closer to my grandkids. Like, there's always something, it's perception, right? Because we sell, it's like, would you sell me that Yeti mug? What's the first thing you say back? No.
Oh, how much?
How much? Right? Would you sell me your car?
What do you want to pay
Right?
for?
Would you sell me your laptop? I don't know. Depends. What do you want to pay for it? Because I don't want to deal with the hassle unless it's worth my while. That's every seller in America. So what do we have to get to them? We have to engage the conversation about what is the value to them in selling. So I saw a post yesterday on Facebook that said, I would sell my house if I could get, and it was a blank, and then in parentheses it said fill in the blank.
That's good.
What, say that again?
I would sell my house if I could get blank. And it just said, fill in the blank. I'll let you know if you're close. What's the follow-up to that? So-and-so posts on there, 700, house is worth 500, but we got supply and demand issues to create elasticity in the market, which allows people to pay more for properties, right, until the appraisal rubber band breaks. So I'm sorry, Greg, I can't get you 500, or I can't get you 700, but I actually think I could stretch you to 600. Other than the 100 that we're missing, what would make it attractive to you? Well, if I could get 6 months rent back and get 600 for it, but it's only worth 500, I would consider selling. Great, 2 or 4 are better for me to come by and take a look. Does that sound like unicorns? Don't believe that. So it works.
I'm curious, how would you handle this situation where it was kind of like what she was saying, you've got a family who potentially wants to buy the house. Is your objective, are you looking at for your buyer, are you looking at to buy and sell and represent both parties? I'm sure you probably would say both. My struggle with that is I almost feel like I am not serving the client if I'm listing their property directly for my client to buy well, because I know they can make more money on the open market.
So I'm gonna encourage you, so you said listing.
Yeah.
Right, so what does listing mean to you?
We're putting it out on the open market at that point.
Okay, which means that that's relative to supply and demand, to see what the highest bid we would get for those.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the conversation when you go into conversation with a potential seller, is I have someone that's interested in your house, they're willing to pay at or above market value. Would it make more sense for me to get that offer to you so we can review that? You can see if that's a fit for you and your family, or would you prefer that I put her on the market and we'll see how high demand will drive it? What are you gonna say?
The latter.
Well, it
Depending on
doesn't
their
matter because I
situation.
win both ways,
Right.
right? I'm like, either got one under contract that wasn't available. So I call that the shadow market. So any houses that are not for sale that could be transacted is a shadow market. And it's up to us. And I like, believe it or not, y'all aren't good until you're in the shadow market. There's a service relationship as realtors. We learn how to service a contract service client. That is service. It's your job. You don't get a gold star for it. What makes me like your client for life is when you get into the shadow market and you rip a house out of something and you put it on my plate for me to eat. I will use you every single time I sell a house. Every time I want to buy a house. Every time my mom wants to buy a house, sell a house. But if you're not reaching and grabbing that out of the shadows and putting it in front of them, you're a transactional broker. That's catch. So when I hear people say like, listings are really hard right now, what that means is I'm having to work harder to get those listings, right? The bottom line is the listings are selling. There's not a single listing that sold that didn't have a buyer. There's not a single buyer that bought that didn't have a listing. and transactions are happening, right? They're just not happening with you. So we find them, we create them, we create business. Does that sound overwhelming?
You do the matchmaker, are you trying to represent both sides?
So I'm going to do what's best. So what I know is if this doesn't work for my buyer and this doesn't work for the seller, I am in conversation with a seller who has been inspired to open the conversation about their in trigger event world at that point.
Yeah.
Now it's mine to lose. There's not another agent on the planet that knows about it. And honestly, at that point, catch or fetch, I have proved that I'm a fetch agent to the seller, and I've proved that I'm a fetch agent to the buyer. You got them both locked down at that point. So I'm either transacting, or I've now got 2 clients instead of 1. All right, why else would you call a homeowner right now? Where are market prices?
High center,
Where are interest rates?
lowest, well, and ticket.
They've gone up, but they're still great.
All right, so interest rates are here, prices are here, what's in the middle? Opportunity. So opportunity is not always transactional. So opportunity can be, hey Glenn, I know that you own your house, I know that you bought your house 4 years ago, I know that the market's appreciated X% in the last 4 years. So I don't know right now if you're thinking about any updates to your house, or if you're thinking about buying any investment properties, but what I'm seeing people like you do is reach out to their lender, get a cash out refi based off where the value is today to create a credit line so they can buy investment property at no cash out of their own pocket. Would you like to be connected with a lender to see what that looks like?
Sure, could you tell me a little bit more what the opportunity looks like on investment properties? I never really thought of that.
Now, that's right. That's broker Jeff, right? So as a producing agent, that's what made me broker Jeff. It wasn't about me like convincing you to list. You sure you don't want to sell your house? Prices are higher than they've ever been. Well, I don't know where I'm going to go. Well, we'll find you something. Just trust me. That's about me and getting a closing. But when you become the person that's creating opportunity, so I refer to it as a win. So on my team in Asheville, I've been out of production for a long time, but I literally will send a text and say, who did you give a win to today? And everybody on my team knows what that means. That doesn't mean what listing did you get, what buyer did you get. That means who in your world did you accelerate?
Maybe give them a new opportunity.
Buy an investment property with no money out of your pocket? Do you know there's a lot of low income people that have a ton of equity in their house, but they can't afford to buy because they're going to take the equity out and reinvest it in the same market. You can't pull out of one market and go back in the same market and make a gain, right? You're net neutral. But what you can do is take something like cash out refi and then update the house to create, now you're at a higher price point with no cash out of pocket. That's a win. You can take that money out, go buy an investment property that rents long-term rental at a price higher than what the payment is. This is somebody who never in a million years would have an opportunity to invest unless they inherit some money or something. And you've just moved them into being an investment property owner.
You just gave me a good idea. So what recently, I've talked with some friends, good friends, just real estate talk. Ask how their business was. And 3 or 4 of them, I'm just gonna give them quarterly market analysis on their homes.
Yep.
Now, my mind was eventually they're gonna see a number they're gonna wanna sell. Now my mind is,
So that's a trigger event, right?
now my mind is going, I may not want them to sell. I may want them to start getting in the investment game because I already have a handful of investors.
That's right. But so you have a lender you trust, right?
Mhm.
With our lender partner here at Palmetto, is that right? Okay. So I don't know if they do cash out refis. I would assume that they do. If they don't, they'll direct you to somebody that does to help you service your clients. Now, you're like Superman or Superwoman when you start creating that writing. So I literally, and this is not an ego statement, this is literally what makes me tick. I can look, I just did the numbers the other day. I'm a little over 1,000 homes that my team has sold. So that's a lot of houses, right? And then I look at my sphere and I can tell you exactly the families that now have multiple investment properties that now are like sitting on tons of equity, and it's off of me reaching either into a shadow market or creating that conversation around how do we move you and your family forward. Then it's not about real estate, because anybody can sell a house, right? Some of us are better at it, others. Some of us have a natural gift for communication and all that. But at the end of the day, what deposit are you putting in? That's an ATM thing. What deposit are you putting into those people? They will never leave you, never. Actually, I'm gonna read you something. I just thought of this. This is, if this works, hold on. Okay, ready? So I started real estate in 2008. My first transaction was February 2009. And I got this text. This guy says, I can't believe it's been 14 years. And he said, 2009 to 2015, bought Shady's a street, bought Annandale Street, sold Shady, buy Ross Cragen, sold Annandale, sold Shady again. And he's like, my goodness, that guy quit his job recently. His wife doesn't work. They have multiple income producing properties. He was a $40,000 land lead. Why did I take that? Because I was new and I was willing to do, like, honestly, I put 65,000 miles in my car in the first year. I would have worked with anybody. If you talked about real estate, I was in your living room. And I literally, this came from my friend Rory, who said, I don't want that. It's way up in Black Mountain. It's $40,000. I'm gonna, at the end of the day, I'll make $1,000 off that. I'm not doing it. And that's the amount of properties. And his life has changed. Passive income, he's living off passive income now, since 2009. It's crazy. What else, listing wise? Let me see if that's anything. Oh, I talked about updates to the house, investment properties, cash out refi. What else? I'll talk about anything because I'm real crazy.
At what point in your career did you go from being a passive agent to really like being a closer? Like what you're talking about now is somebody who gets things done for people.
Yep.
You're not waiting for the market to come to you. You're not
Nope.
hoping that, oh, MLS has stepped up again. You're really stepping in there and you're making opportunities for people.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
So I started that on day one, and it was because I was in an extreme world of scarcity. So sleeping on a couch, $336 in my checking account. I didn't have a plan B. So do y'all have Homes and Land, the magazine down here? Homes and Land, it's like a publication it's got realtor ads in it. Do y'all have that? But it's basically just a real estate magazine. And my buddy Rory ran one ad in there, and out of that one ad, they would send out to probably 10 realtors any leads that came off the magazine because you were an ad holder, right? And he would just forward them to me, and I would just email people immediately, try and call them if I could. I didn't know what to tell them because I was a brand new, terrible agent. But that from day one, I would do extensive research. I appreciate that you like this house. However, this is 2009, the market's terrible. I'd love an opportunity to do a market analysis on it and make sure that you're not going to overpay for something that's just caught your eye. Would you be offended if you gave me more information and I went out and found properties that were of like kind that might be a bit cheaper, or is this something you'd like to take a look at? Call after call after call. Because you always want to pull back, because if you lead with, what's the one thing you hate with salesmanship? When you walk into a car lot and they say, now, if I find you the perfect car and the perfect deal, are you ready to buy today? It's literally, it makes my skin, and I love buying cars. I love it. But I hate it, oh my gosh, because I know it's transactional. It's just like, should I waste my time with you or not? All right, what else do we do to get listings? Or what other questions? Anything valuable so far?
Sure.
All right, so what about, do y'all have circle prospecting software or access to that so you can get names and numbers? Yes?
Not as a brokerage.
Not as a brokerage, it's
Individual
something you can find, right? Okay, cool. Do you guys do any circle prospecting for listings?
Well, I just did some yesterday, but I did it, because I'm also an investor.
Yep.
And I was doing it actually for both, because it doesn't really matter.
Mhm.
I did it with a platform for texting.
Okay.
And I sent out 400 texts, and I got, actually it was a good return rate. One of the guys is like, well, as a matter of fact,
Yep.
we're just doing some work here before we put our house on the market. I'm like, really?
So what was your response?
That's awesome. Why don't I come see it?
Yep. So my response to that, which
Why are
works
we doing it?
really well, anytime, so this is something you do in your sphere. Anytime you make an adjustment to your house, as a member of the realtor community and being in touch with market values and what things are doing in the market, anytime you do an addition to your house or do any work on your house at all, let me walk through it, make sure that the investment you're putting into your house will show up on the backside. Because the last thing I want is somebody in my sphere spending money that they're not gonna get on the return on.
And that's what I said. I said, maybe I can save you some money.
Yep.
First, before you do all these things.
And,
And so I
and,
have an appointment with him, and then I also I had an appointment this morning with the first time buyer owner out of that whole,
That's right. But that's the thing, is like, that's ATM, right? So you gotta bring some value. Let me walk through and make sure that you're not doing stuff you're not gonna get on the backside.
right.
I didn't say you should sell it before you do that, because that's creepy and slimy, and that's just like, if I need to sell a house, I need to sell a house.
Right.
I'm aligning shoulder to shoulder with that person.
And in the current market, I've also told people, you may not have to do quite what, like you're saying, you may not have to do as much to the house or as many updates as you're thinking to maximize
That's right.
the return on.
We're gonna look at ROI on this. That's right. All right, so I asked about listings. If y'all don't have listings or you have listings and you're not working the neighborhood that they're in, you're missing out. So as a homeowner in this neighborhood, so Glenn, I don't know you at all, but I wanted to let you know there's a listing coming up around the street or around the corner, down the street, whatever, right? So the first thing I want to do is let you know there may be some extra traffic in the neighborhood because we have a crazy market right now. Second thing I want you to know is I'm going to need your help. If you could go, when we have an open house on Sunday, can you walk through the house, give me an idea on price and how your house compares so I can gauge the market? Because the last thing I want to do is undersell a house in your neighborhood because it'll affect your appraisal value for the next 12 months.
I've never heard that way, but that is brilliant.
Do that again. I can't do that again.
Basically, he's inviting the nosy neighbor in the house.
All right, so we'll call it sort of prospecting, right? And what's our message? First thing, I want to let you know that there may be some extra traffic in the neighborhood. Market's crazy right now. People are freaking out, overpaying for houses. It's crazy. Right? But I do need your help. That's a key phrase. I do need your help. I have an open house on Sunday between 2 and 4. If you could do me a favor and walk through this house, compare the price where it's listed to what you may have in your house and give me an opinion on price, it'd be invaluable to me. Because the last thing I want to do is sell something lower than I could have in your neighborhood, because that's going to affect your appraisal value for the next 12 months.
Yeah, that's really good.
And guess what people like to talk about? Their houses. Well, I just put a sunroom in and that one doesn't have a sunroom and you're saying it's worth $450,000. And I can tell you if that's worth $450,000, mine's worth $5. And I said, well, are you kidding me? What kind of sunroom did you put in? Let me walk through real fast and compare it to my house, see if there's any room. Great, was 2 or 4 or better?
Yeah. Do you know Lisa Archer?
Under the name.
She would do, and they still do this, her thing, they would do a Thursday listing, a Friday evening open house just for the neighbors.
Yep.
And they would bring in the ice cream truck, the coffee truck, or whatever, the food truck, just for the neighborhood.
because you'll get a lot of pushback like from neighbors. If you don't tie it to them in some way, you're just like winning off the market. So one of my best friends literally talks smack about realtors every time I'm with him. Well, y'all are just riding the market. You don't care, you're just driving regular people out, the higher the prices sell, blah, 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 right? That's his like mindset on it. But when you engage somebody in their neighborhood and say, what I need to do is protect your investment by making sure that this doesn't sell low. I don't know if you remember 2008, 2009, but one comp that sold for 40% under market would ruin you for a year, right? So I'm not gonna let that happen. This is a great neighborhood and there's a lot of reasons people wanna be in it. So if you could do me a favor and walk through this house, we'll make sure this thing's priced appropriately. How does your house compare to it? All right, what else with open houses or circle prospecting? What else can you do? Is this so helpful?
So when the open house,
This
then,
means quiet. No, I'm just kidding.
so when you did the open houses, then you're the one that's at your own listing of open house.
Nope.
Thomas, was that your
That's
listing?
leverage. All right, so here's
Was that your
the,
listing Sunday you were at, the open house?
Yeah.
Was it your listing?
Oh, no.
Whose listing was it?
Well, yeah, I get that. But I'm saying when
After I
you're
make that phone
circle
call.
prospecting for yourself.
Yep.
Then I guess, how do you do that when you get the listing and not the person that's coming to do the open house for you get the listing?
oh, as far as when the buyer or the other potential seller goes to visit the house.
Yes.
So the conversation's real easy. So they'll come in and they'll say, I talked to Jeff and he asked me to walk through.
Oh, okay.
And then like, it's,
Oh, okay.
I mean, they literally say that every time. Yeah, Jeff gave me a call and asked me if I'd walk through real fast.
Okay.
I'm not interested in buying or selling, I'm just walking through real fast. And
Yeah.
guarantee you, my phone rings or I get an email, hey, I took a look at that house and I think you're a little bit high, but if it sells for that, gosh, I'd sell for that.
Ding, 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 ding.
Do you ever get the response of how are you listing this house if you don't know how to price it? Or
So,
if you're not confident of
well,
the price?
I appreciate you asking that. So there are two parts of real estate. What?
Yeah,
No, I'm doing this right now. So I appreciate you asking that.
Yeah.
There are two types of real estate, right? So one is the quantitative part of real estate, and that's where we go through and we find a value based off of numbers and historical values. So quantitative things are like what we use for value assessments or CMAs or what anybody like an appraiser would use. But you and I both know that you've walked into a house before and you've seen light coming through the kitchen that just stirs your soul and makes you want to pay just a little bit more, and that's what we call qualitative value. So my job is to go in and use a quantitative measure to say where your house should be, and then I'm gonna take the qualitative attributes that are gonna get me to pay more or transact more quickly, and we're gonna stretch that price as far as we can without breaking the elastic of the appraisal.
that's really good. And I was afraid to ask him that because I didn't want to be.
No, it's a great.
But that's the reality, right? So it's like the perfect car or the perfect whatever, like that stirs your soul. You're like, I'll pay extra for that. That's exactly, and so I know my car is not black right now. It was advertised as black sapphire. It's blue. Okay, but I only buy black cars. But I bought that one before I actually saw it. I only buy black cars. So if it's got black wheels, black windows, black interior, and black paint, I'll pay extra for it. Like I like it just stirs my soul, and that's the way houses are. Like there's gonna be something about it. Like I've always wanted a Viking range, or I've always wanted a fenced yard. There's something qualitatively about it that just gets you going, and that's where we start to stretch those prices. And that's a conversation we can have with our sellers on the sell side. That way, you're never wrong. So people that tell you to go into a listing appointment and tell them what a house is worth, I think that's a suicide mission. I don't do that. I say based off the data, and I show them the data, it suggests your home should be priced between this point and this point. When we're looking at the comps, is there anything that sets your house above or below the comps that I have here? Or are there things that we can do to help stretch that price outside of that zone that you can share with me? Guess what? I'm never wrong. If you go in and say it's worth 300 and somebody thinks 325, you lost the listing to the guy that came behind you and said 320. Because you didn't get it right. But when you start bringing the data, and this is the thing, you got to know your market. Bring the data and then point at it. Point at it like the evil thing it is. The data says this. What do you think? Guess who's not wrong? That's wrong sometimes, but I'm never wrong. And then you can have a conversation with, remember I said shoulder to shoulder? As a partner, we're going to price this a little above what the quantitative data suggests. And it's my commitment to you in this market where we have a very limited amount of inventory that within the first week, if we're not getting the amount of showings we should be getting, we know that the market is saying that we're priced outside that threshold. So I'm going to give you a call next Friday if we haven't had enough showings, and we're going to talk about making a swift adjustment to the price, because without reviewing offers, I'm doing you a disservice. Does that make sense?
I've used that quite often for both.
Yeah, I've already set them up for a price reduction. I haven't done anything.
So, okay, Jeff, well, I've got this great detached garage that I bet cost me $100,000.
Okay.
You're telling me my house is only worth $325.
Your house, so you paid 100 extra for the garage?
Yeah, we cashed out a couple of years ago. We built this,
Okay.
yeah, so,
Yep.
you know, I need to get this money out of this garage. It's worth it to somebody.
The same thing happened to me this morning on that for sale by owner.
It happens a lot. I have an answer in my head. I just want to hear, yes, it will happen all the time.
I know, I'm gonna tell you, when I said, you tell me what you said.
Well, I'm gonna go your say.
I know, we're rolling. Let's go meeting.
All right, so your garage is worth $100,000.
Yeah, I got all the paperwork, I got all the invoices from the contractor.
Okay, so that's what you paid for.
I paid $100,000.
Okay, and would you prefer to stay in the house or sell the house?
Well, we'd like to downsize now. I mean, I love my garage, the house is just too big.
So what's important about downsizing?
Give Julie a break, from cleaning and really.
So our kids can't
Yeah, so-
go back home.
Right, keep them from moving back home, right?
Right, yeah. To be honest, yeah.
That's right, so I would say that it's important that we find out more about Julie and what she wants to do and what you want to do. So you're saying the garage is worth X, and you're only gonna sell if you can get that money out of the garage.
That's
So we need, more than you and I having a conversation, we need to talk to Julie about that.
okay.
So I'm sorry, if kids are moving back home, we're not selling the
No,
garage.
Glenn, let's sell the house.
Right, so
instead of-
I would go away from it.
Right.
The other thing is you can say, we got two options here. To you, the house is worth more than the market's saying it's worth, right? So we can either decide to transact now, and in an open market with ready, willing, and able buyers, it will dictate the price that it's worth, right? That's what an open market is. The other option is you and I have a conversation about let's not sell, and let's let Julie know, and let's wait for the market to appreciate to the level that you think your garage is. Does that make sense?
I know she's not ready for those two older daughters to come back, that's for sure, so.
No, I don't want to rush you at all. So let's wait, and we'll just watch the market. When the market gets closer to what you believe that garage is worth, then I'll give you a call and we'll get that thing sold. And Julie, I apologize, but you might have them moving back home.
So when do you think, when do you think the market will get where I need it to be?
When do I think it'll be there? Well, I don't know. So the market actually dictates the price, right? So what somebody's willing to pay. And my job to you is to make sure to stay in contact with you and let you know what prices are doing the whole time. The one thing I want to watch out for though, is that 1% in interest rate is about 10% in affordability. So while we're watching that, if the interest rates go up 1%, we're losing 10% of value in affordability. So I'm going to watch interest rates, keep in touch with you, and then we're going to hope that the market appreciates, interest rates don't go up. Does that make sense?
Well, we don't have that much on the house, so.
So I didn't tell him he should sell one time,
Right.
but he started pushing back on me that he wanted to sell, right? So y'all, have y'all done 4 quadrants? So here's what I want you to study, and I'll do a class on this. So this is positive present, negative present, negative future, positive future. Now, what did we learn about that conversation?
Well,
I'm losing people.
Negative future.
Negative future.
Yeah,
What?
the kids moving back in.
All right,
Yep.
kids move back. What else did we learn?
Positive future, kids don't move back.
That's right. No kids at home.
this is kind of like a bin frame.
Negative present would be, you may not get what you put into your garage.
Correct.
Might not get it out.
Right.
Loss in
Negative
value,
equity.
loss in value of garage.
Loss in value. Okay, what else is negative present? House is too big.
Yeah, she's cleaning too much.
Kids, they're ready to come.
Right, okay. What's positive though? So you only win if you stay in the market.
The market is very good right now.
The interest rates are
Interest
low.
rates. All right, so low interest rates.
Market is hot, or seller market.
Okay, so high values,
Sell quickly.
quick. All right, what else?
They got more buying power too.
Yeah,
For the next
buying power. Now, I don't know if y'all heard this or not, but I worked that with him. I went around that. I kept going back to her.
Yeah, he bypassed me in case y'all didn't see that, which is a very smart thing to do. Key in on the person.
Kids moving back. Now, if I really wanted to literally make him cry, I would have said, what's it look like if the kids do come back?
We're role playing those.
He will not have a happy wife.
No, but for real, like, how does that affect your daily life?
Harder to concentrate on work because I'm taking care of.
So you're gonna have to spend some time and then your business is gonna go down. How much would that affect you, you think, monetarily?
Say, at least 30-40%.
30-40%, which probably isn't that big a deal, but if we got 30-40% just by them moving back, is there some costs associated with them moving back too?
Yes.
So 30-40%
Expenses.
down on your income plus expenses go up.
Yes.
What's your time look like? Like how much time do you guys get to spend alone if they come back?
Never.
You start charging them rent.
That's right, charge them rent.
I mean.
Yeah, we tried that. This actually is literally a scenario that has happened.
This is the true scenario.
And as we're getting ready to build a new house, it is
Yeah.
gonna be smaller and they can't come. They can stay in our camper that will be on the property. They will not come to my house, other than just to socially
Guys,
visit.
So don't leave them here. This is where we fail all the time. This is the biggest thing that I made mistakes on. I would cut them up, they're bleeding on the floor, right? And then I would dance around with the flag. I won, but I didn't solve the problem for them. So here's what I do know. If we sell now and maybe the $100,000 you put into it, maybe we look at that as the cost for you to be able to move toward this space. So it's not the $100,000 you're losing, because we know the market's up and interest rates are down. You got more buying power, and I'm gonna literally skip around this 4 quadrants, right? And then I'm gonna say, so why don't we do the right thing? Let's get this thing on the market. Let's see what the buyers put in front of you. And if you don't like anything, we don't transact. Because that's my commitment to you. How does that sound to you?
Sounds really good.
He was looking at me. He did a basketball. He's looking at me. And he didn't know what path to
She
do
was
it.
driving.
Oh, you're right.
And you can watch people, when he was saying the stuff about the kids moving on, he kept checking with her because she was driving. All right, it's past 1. I think, was I supposed to stop at 1? Sometimes I can check.
1:30 is group coaching, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. So does that stuff make sense to you at all?
Okay.
So literally, this goes for phone calls. So I'm not sure if I want to buy right now. I'm not sure if I want to sell right now.
But you have to find out what's important to someone.
That is the map. So it should be 1X on your sheet. 1X. And then literally P plus, P negative. And then you want to, don't you dare go here. You're dead out of water, like done. If I had said the market says your garage isn't worth that. How would you
Shut
respond?
down is
Oh,
done.
well, I know what I paid for.
You're
It
paid.
doesn't matter what you paid for it, the market's not gonna give you that.
But then you're gonna say.
I'm gonna get defensive because of my
Did you feel
garage.
the energy change? Did y'all feel that?
Yeah.
So you cannot go here. So literally, I want you to think, you have to earn the right to move from the top to the bottom. You always start on the left side, and you have to fill this. They will not fill it because they're perceiving that you want them here. So you heard me say to him, at the end of the day, though, you guys are getting to spend tons of time with each other right now, right?
Mhm.
And that's probably the best thing about it. We don't need to sell.
Well, we work together, so it's important that
Right.
we have work time and then personal time.
That's right. Keep pushing them. Positive, positive, present, positive, present, positive, present, positive, present. And then they'll start building this. But I really don't want the kids to come home. And I'm like, yeah, but if they did, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world because they're your kids and we can still, you have them around to help, we can get some rent out of them. You'll push right back because y'all feel the energy. You want them to push right back. I don't want that. And then I push them right back up. And then they push back, and then I take them here. And then I put a bow on it. Sign here, press hard.
It's interesting, it's a similar sort of anomaly that happens, like when you go to a listing appointment and you say, I don't know if you consider renting this, but the metrics are right on this thing, and they talk with you later, they're ready to sell, but there's a trust that gets established because
That's right.
you're willing to walk away from the opportunity to list them because it's in their best interest possibly to rent it.
That's right. That's right. And that, I know, like, this is my passion in the world, catch or fetch and shoulder to shoulder. If you're across a table from somebody, y'all see my table diagram? The box? All right, I'm gonna annoy you. Y'all can plug on me whenever you want. All right, if you have a box, I'm gonna make it three-dimensional, so I'm such a great artist. Here's a bow. All right, you got a box? I'm standing here, looking at the box. Look at this. I'm a happy realtor. And I'm looking at this. And then Susie Seller is here. Looking at the box. We both see the same box, but we see different sides of it. So, market won't support the price of your garage. It doesn't matter, I paid for it. The garage is what we're talking about. But we certainly aren't having the same conversation as ping pong, right? It's tennis or ping pong, back and forth, back and forth. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. You should sell it. No, I don't want to sell. So your job as a realtor is here, and that's when you become a consultant. Just smile now, because you're looking at the same side of the box. Tell me what's important about selling the garage at 100,000.
Well, that's what I paid for.
And I'm asking questions. What's important about that? So tell me more about that.
Well, I hate to lose the money, or any money. I mean,
No, that makes sense. What would that mean? I didn't say anything. Tell me more about that. What would that mean? The other good one, this is my personal favorite. This is very advanced. Please try to stay aboard here. And just stare at me.
wait, you're staring at me because of the garage, not her. You already want her.
That's right,
Okay.
that's right. But, and just look at it. And you'll literally start to get nervous and then be like, well, I mean, I don't need 100. I don't want to lose money. And
then the funny part is, the wife's over there, 'cause this is exactly what happened to me this morning. She's sitting over there going, like,
well, she'll
you know,
be
you're an
like,
idiot.
honey, it doesn't matter. We got $50,000 more buying power if you sell right now. So you're not losing it, you're transferring it. And I'm like, well, yeah, but he doesn't want to right now because I'm pushing him right back in positive present. It's not something y'all need to do. And then she'll start pushing him back. But always shoulder to shoulder. Any conversation you have.
So are
Sales.
you physically
Here.
saying you should do shoulder to shoulder?
So I physically do that. So let me give you, I know I'm just rambling at this point, it's fun. So when I go into a house, when I did go into a house, say I go to a listing appointment. When you walk into a house, what do you see? I'll tell you what you see. You see the notebook and the pen on the table. and there's either a cup of water or there's an immediate offer for water. So you come in the door, right? And they say, I'm so glad you're here. Let's sit down. I'd love to see what you got, or I'd love to see what you think. Did you bring your numbers? Tell me a little bit about you. It happens every single time. Let me show you how I walk into the house. Ready? All right. If this is the person, I literally walk past them. This place is great. Do you mind if I take a look? And they'll go, we were hoping you'd sit down. You want me to discuss something before I see it? No, well, I guess that makes sense. And then here's what happens. I start walking through the house. Where are they? Right here or right here. Do you mind showing me your favorite parts of the house? Tell me about this bedroom. Great. Look at all the light in here. That's nice. Good little touch up there. Blah, 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 blah. Next part of the house. Where are they at? On my shoulder. Don't forget to look in the basement. Oh, do you mind showing it to me? By the time I've gotten back to the table, it's done. Absolutely done. Because I've said, what happens if you don't sell? Look at that, that's crazy.
So that's interesting. So you don't go you want to go in and look at it through the eyes of the buyer. You actually encourage the sellers to be with you.
Oh, no, I'm establishing a relationship with them. So what they don't realize is I'm extracting information the entire time. This carpet's crazy. Who put that in there? The ex-wife? Right? I hate that carpet. You're right. We should change it. I don't think you need to. Prices are pretty good right now. Through the whole house, right? And now I'm understanding their personality profile and I'm aligning with them. And they're literally shoulder to shoulder with me the whole time. The second you sit at the table, now we're in negotiation again, right? So I never do that. I'll sit right there.
Do you put them on both sides of it? I like to have one on one side and one on the other side.
Well, I always sit next to them. It's like ridiculous. I mean,
Well-
I say I always haven't done it in years, but I would literally go sit right next to them.
So a lot of the tables that I sit down lately are more like 4. So generally speaking, I try to have one on one side. That way they're kind of looking at each other too as the conversation.
Yeah, I literally I have my papers and my laptop and I scoot right beside them. Quantitative, qualitative, blah, blah, blah. Always take a glass of water. You guys know that rule? Why do we do that?
They offer.
It's a commanding position. They're serving you already.
Ask them for a glass of water.
No, they will ask.
They'll offer
They
you.
always offer.
Always take it, because then they're in service. You've already moved into a relationship where they're literally in service with you. And then come from curiosity. You know, all this makes me sound like a psychopath, but
You don't ask for a living.
what's that?
Actually prefer Coke. You see what it is?
So what else? Any other ideas on listing stuff or questions in general about objections? I love objections.
I used to do it that way. And I started breaking my presentation up into two spots because I would do the tour around the house with suggestions.
Yeah.
And then I found out they had $200.
Right.
And we have to do the tour all over again.
So how does it, so what do you do now? You take a ton of listings, so what's your process?
I go in and we do sit down first, but my first is relationship building.
Yep.
And it's questions and my question is I sit down and say, so you guys have thought about selling the house?
Mhm.
And then just let them grow up.
Yeah.
Then after we go through our listing booklet, which is the relationship building, who we are, all that kind of stuff. Then we do the tour and meet back at the table to talk about numbers.
That's awesome.
But I decided to break it up.
Well, so I used to do that, and I was talking myself out of the listing because I was talking more about me. Because like when the book's in front of them, even if they weren't asking about it, like I was drawn towards saying like, we sold X amount of houses, or our marketing is above and beyond what you typically would see by this way, and this way. So for me, It wasn't the most efficient for me, so, but y'all like 100% find your niche and your rhythm, and just, you have to come from curiosity and listen. Number one way to win is to don't tell.
I think it also depends on what kind of clients you're working with, too, in your relationship, right? Because Justin's a mostly referral and everything, so you always have a pre-existing relationship, and then who you are, have an idea of you, versus going in cold to just totally different conversation and experience.
Well, I did that especially because I'm terrible at developing rapport off the bat.
Okay, so that was your opportunity to develop rapport. So that's building yourself in communication style. Are y'all writing, y'all know the DISC profile?
Yeah.
So you guys classifying your clients prior to a meeting?
Trying to.
I'll do
Do it every single time. Do you, anybody not know what DISC is? Raise your hand so we can change it. Okay, perfect. So DISC profile, so just Google Tony Robbins DISC. And there's a free DISC profile, and it's a 4-vector profile that helps you understand how people communicate or what their personality traits are.
We literally got a listing because the church that we now attend to had us do a disc profile so we could plug into a volunteer group. And when we sat down at the table, they said, "So what did y'all think about the disc profile?" And I said, "Well, I've taken it like 12 times. We're in real estate." And the people across from us heard us say that. We put their house on the market, it's under contract. So
So I'm a DI, so high drive and relationship. Gary Keller's a DC, could care less about relationship, doesn't need to be stable, that's the S, or secure, but high attention to detail, so he's a DC.
What am I?
What's that?
What am I?
You're high all over the place.
Yeah.
So you'll have one dominant trait. Mine is like I'm literally pegged on the D side. My I is lower, but those are my 2 dominant traits. An engineer is an SC. So I don't speak the same language. I come in spinning rainbows and unicorns and talking about qualitative, quantitative, and they're like, "Give me a break. You're full of stuff."
That's so true. I date an
Right.
engineer, and it's very difficult, because I'm a high
Yeah.
and a D, lower D.
They just want to see numbers.
Graphs, yeah. you-
I can get these numbers.
You gotta use the words analyze.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I gotta take a course on that.
But when you're on the phone with somebody on an initial phone call,
Right.
you're gonna do 4 quadrants, so do the X, so you can understand. That doesn't mean you're trying to close them, you're building a profile. And then as you hang up the phone, I want you to write DISC and circle the 2 things that showed up. And then when you go to that meeting, I'm gonna show up to, think about this, think about the artist. I'm from up in Asheville, right? So I got like potters, right? They're literally barefoot throwing pots in their basement, right? And then I've got engineers. If I come in heavy on numbers to the potter, she's literally gonna get me out of the house in a minute and a half. By the same token, if I go to the engineer and talk about like, wow, we need to move this, and this, like, oh my gosh, the light in here. They're like, and I've lost listings because of misclassifying people, and that's part of what my team started developing, is that DISC, and then circle the 2 things, and then they would give me information relevant to that.
And sometimes the spouse will say, "Oh, tell me what your husband does for, what does your
Oh,
husband
yeah.
do for work?" "Oh, he works your floor." "All right, we'll see."
Right.
We'll figure
An
this out.
accountant, right?
Something I found, I got a tip from my coaching organization: send a pre-listing packet before you go, have a misspelling in there in your pre-listing packet, and then when you go and you meet with them, you can instantly figure out, "Hey, what did you think of that pre-listing packet I've seen?" They didn't see it, they're a D. If they talk about all the colorful stuff in it, they're an I. If they
Yeah.
talk about like, oh, how you've done all this amazing stuff in the community and XYZ, they're an S. If they point out your spelling mistake and they look at
Yeah.
all 19 pages, they're probably a C.
Yeah,
So could you put like 418 Main Avenue and it was supposed to be Main Street? Is that kind of?
It's actually, so it's a pre-listing packet, it's actually just,
I'm just saying.
it's by listing presentation, so there's just a misspelled
I've never heard
word in
that's
it,
awesome.
and it's like on the 3rd page.
my
So someone
OCD
just-
would not let me do that.
So you wouldn't do it on the first page and
No.
just kind of misdo the
Yeah, you
address a
just
little bit?
misspell, no, not the address or anything that's gonna be super important to their house, but just like, something you just put like I can't remember what it is, but it's like a long, like miscommunication or something weird
That's
like that,
awesome.
and then you just switch 2 letters out.
I
And
love
no
it.
people are ever gonna notice that, or people are super detail oriented.
That's awesome. All right, so let's wrap this up. Give me ahas or takeaways for the board. What was valuable?
I love going to agents who are retiring, and can you even take that to insurance agents because they all have their book.
Yeah. All right, so database. So that, when we talked about database, we were talking about either working it for somebody and doing a referral fee or purchasing a database or something. Step 2 on that is finding technology to leverage against that. So having a smart plan or something that's working on the background. So you're not just having to call through a database, because in all honesty, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna say we're gonna do it, we're gonna call 5 or 6, we're not gonna see success, and then it's gonna be a waste of your money or a waste of your time. So you find a hunter, you get a smart plan set up in command, and that's working neighborhood nurtures or whatever on the back.
My follow-up question though, do you think retiring agents are going to have a database?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
huge database.
Do they?
Because they're old school.
And if they don't have anything written down, it's in their phone, and they're gonna get people that still call
Those are the people that are old school that have it.
Like, think about the agents in the market right now that maybe aren't as active as they were, that had really strong businesses that just through their phone ringing are still doing 5, 10 million a year. Those are the ones. All right, what else was the takeaway?
I love the ATM thing. I think that comes like from the philosophy like the go-giver and everything. What I think is really unfortunate is a lot of the real estate training that we always hear is exactly what you said. And I've always felt the same way. Like, who do you know looking to buy or sell? And it's just like that conversation just feels so disingenuous to me.
Right.
And providing something for people does, and I've seen it myself, but it's just good to hear that reinforced because that keeps you on the right mindset of helping people, and it all comes back to you in the end.
That's awesome. We have this, like, this is not the favorite thing I say, but let's say, no one owes you a transaction because you have a license. So, like, how many of you heard somebody say, or you have said, I can't believe my sister listened with someone else? I can't believe my best friend sold without letting me get a referral. Letting me get a referral. That's because you didn't put anything in the ATM. Had you called and said, can I pre-screen agents for you because I know what it takes to sell a house, and I don't want you to have to go through every agent in the market trying to find those qualities. So let me do some homework, let me find you the perfect agent, you select from the top 3, and then I know you're gonna be taken care of. Would that be valuable? No one owes you a deal. I made this woman blubber cry, like ugly cry. Her brother is one of the biggest builders in Asheville. And she sat in my office, she was probably a $2 million producer, $3 million producer. And I don't understand, he has never used me. And I said, because you're not valuable to him. And she said, he's my brother. And I said, and that's his business, and he doesn't owe you a transaction because you have a license. So you want to turn that around, and we built a plan for her to go to him with a value proposition that made sense. And she's selling, she's $7 million this year. She's selling tons of property.
Greg, you got a question? Or
I like the script you use for, bringing value to small business owners.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you, say that again?
Are you want me to say it again?
Yeah. What can I do for your business?
Somebody else did.
What can I do for your business?
Real quick. Nobody? I'm the only idiot?
I can do it.
Go
You
ahead.
want me to do the agent?
Yeah, somebody, doesn't matter. Okay. You call me.
Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hey, Jeff, it's Evan Whaley. How are you doing today?
Hey, man, what's happening?
Hey, it's so good to talk to you. I know, you and I have a great relationship, and you have a wonderful business here in the local community, and I just want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to help promote your business and help it grow. So I've got a database, of almost 1,000+ people. I'd love to, with your permission, I'd love to just send them an email and just kind of talk about all the amazing experiences I've had with your business and try to drive a little more foot traffic. Is that something that'd be okay for you?
That's awesome. Why would you do that? Like, I mean, that's awesome. Yes, totally do that.
I'm just super passionate about local businesses, and I think you've got an amazing one, and I just wanna help you out in any way that I can.
Let's do it, man. That's great. I'll tell you what I could do is, would it be helpful if I gave you like a little 10% off coupon and you can circulate that and kind of see how many people are coming and it'd be super helpful.
That would be wonderful, and if you don't mind, please keep me up to date with that, so I can see exactly how effective this is. If I need to change strategies to make sure I'm getting even more business, just let me know.
What just happened there?
We became best friends.
There's no way my next referral's not going to him. Because that was like high level conversation that wasn't, are you looking to buy, sell, or invest? You're like you're my boy at that point. I'm like, you're getting everything that comes across my table. All right, what else? Any more takeaways?
Well, I really like, the whole investor, like, helping people understand how they can pull money out
Oh,
of.
yeah, so.
Cash out refi.
Yep.
Yeah. to
So
use.
home value,
Buy
refi,
investment
thing,
houses.
yeah. Home value, refi, upgrade, whatever.
Cause that can play in many different angles.
Oh, yeah.
Upgrade their house and sell their house, or have you ever thought about owning some investment property for passive income?
Exactly.
Okay, this is alien to me because I'm new to it. Can we sit down and talk about this?
Yeah.
I
I
have no
talked
idea what
to
this is about.
somebody.
We have some.
Must have brand new.
You're like,
We,
someone help. Right.
Julie and I actually met with some others in the coaching program last Friday. I actually had a lender come in that they do have a program for that. Now, they're realtors in here, but it's an easy conversation if you start talking to some lenders and getting some.
So just find a lender that can do a refi. Typically, you do a cash out, they do an 80% LTV, which is 80% loan to value, meaning that they got 80% of what my house is worth, and they want to keep at least 20% in there. So if you get the 80%, up to 80%, say I have 50% equity, then I got 30% that I can pull out in cash. So like in my current house, this is a real world scenario, I have an open credit line for $100 grand that I don't touch. And you only pay on it if you take the money out. So I've got an 8-year period on that where it's pre-approved. I can walk into a teller and get $100 grand out. And that's only because I called and asked them to come do an appraisal and give me a cash out refi. I didn't take the cash out.
It's a lot.
Yep.
Equity line.
Yep.
But I had a man tell me, watches over me, my personal finances, and maybe it's just my situation, but he told me absolutely don't jeopardize the stability of my situation and my kids' home.
Yep.
Doing that, because I was like, I watched him invest.
Yep.
And he was like, no, you can't use that.
Oh yeah, so that's why we're not gonna tell people to do that. We're gonna say, are you available to this? Let's sit down and evaluate if it's a good fit for you.
Maybe it was just my personal.
Well, it can be, I would encourage anybody to sit and look at it, but it's a great opportunity to get investment property and just upgrade your house. It depends on, if you're in like some crazy appreciation that you think's bottom's gonna drop out, you can create a credit line, but I don't know that I would encourage people to pull it out. But why would you at least create it?
And there are also other ways to get money too in the
Yeah.
investment world. You can do hard money lenders,
Oh yeah. that's all.
private lenders.
Yeah. All right, one more.
I like the, figuring out if your clients, with the disc, figuring out which one they are.
Disc.
Yeah, before you have a valuable conversation with them.
So y'all Google Tony Robbins free DISC assessment, take it yourself, you'll get the report back, you can read about it, and then you'll have a baseline understanding of it. And I mean, I just use it all the time. Just in conversation, I'm like, oh, person D is off the chart, or person so SC, I can't stand it.
I've blown deals too, going in leading with my D,
Yeah.
knowing that, I mean, it's just stupid. I should have just talked about their family and how, what we haven't talked, just, so knowing yourself too is important.
I used to take it once a year and I stopped doing it once a year, but it still seems to pop up. And I always go the same. I'm a very high I and a high D.
See, I can't, the I, decays me.
The eye
You
decays.
just want to get,
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I'm like, if you tell me about that damn program one more time.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that too.
I want to leave. Kids are at home. Do you want to sell your house or not?
Yeah.
So I can't stand it, but that allows you to at least understand going into it, you're like, maybe I shouldn't have that third cup of coffee, I'm gonna go into this one and chill. All right,
Can I follow up the small business, how does that look now? You've engaged. Now you're gonna throw it out to your database. How do you present that?
to your database, so it can be, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but she was, no, behind you.
Me?
Yeah.
Ashley.
Ashley, you were doing the videos with the.
Weekend, whatever report?
Yeah, that's my name, so that I can steal
Yeah.
that.
Trademark.
Weekend, whatever report.
Weekend, whatever report.
Yeah, so what she was doing is highlighting local businesses and doing that. You can also you can push it out. Another great thing to do is the apology script, which is just, you can call anybody in your database and just say, I'm sorry, I haven't been in touch with you like I intended to, but you're incredibly important to me. So in an effort to be better about that, let me grab your birthday. I want to make sure I get all these things in my calendar. And I think you're still living at the same house. Blah, 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 which is probably wrong, and they'll correct you and tell you the real address, right? Then you say, well, I don't want you just to think about me for real estate. If you need your house painted, you need an attorney, you need to know what restaurant to go to. I've got a list of vendors that I trust and people in my office trust. So which thing could you use help with? Everybody wants a landscaper, a deck bill, like something. You didn't say anything about asking for business, but you've created deposit. And they'll say,